of Arabia looks down on my hat, while Albert Einstein spots a baby comes by for a chat. I'm on the avenue, just drinking at my feet. The prince, a famous artist, is out on the street. Get down in New York City.
Yasser Arafat yesterday donated blood to the American victims. Is this an attempt to undo the damage?
No.
Has the publicity campaign started now?
I think President Arafat and most of the Palestinians are genuine in expressing their sorrow to the casualties.
Yasser Arafat twisting everybody on his finger. You have, it's about the time you learn who is Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat is a disaster of the world. We have to cut his head and to get them back to Tunis.
هم צריך לעטוף אותם באור של חזירים. אלה שמתאבדים, כל הערבים שמתאבדים, שונאים אותנו, צריך לעטוף אותם באור של חזירים.
אני בטוח שערפאת הוא זה שמעורב בכל הנושא הזה, בטוח. כל הזמן הוא עושה את זה. כל פיגוע הוא מגנה את זה. כל פיגוע. הוא אומר אני מצטער, ואני בטוח ב100% שהוא מעורב בכל הנושאים האלו.
מה צריך לעשות נגדו? יש לנו עסק להילחם
אני לדעתי, הצבא צריך להיכנס ולהרוג את המשפחות האלו. נגמר הסיפור, עם ישראל סובל מהדברים האלו, מהפיגועים האלו. הממשלה צריכה לקום ולעשות סוף לעניינים האלו.
I think the whole world has to understand that the way to end terrorism is number one, to fight terrorists, but number two, and maybe more important, to eliminate the atmosphere that brings terrorism and brings hatred, which is the injustice and the poverty. The poverty and the injustice are the primary responsible for the hatred which brings about terrorism in the world.
So beating hard doesn't work?
It doesn't work. I mean, you have to bridge the huge gaps in this world. This is an unbalanced world. The huge gap between the rich and the poor, the huge gap between the democratic and the undemocratic part of the world, the huge gap between the part of the world which are enjoying democracy and human rights and the other part of the world which is subject to inhuman practices and injustice and violations of human rights. These gaps has to be bridged in order to have a balanced world, and then we can be more efficient in fighting terrorism.
Egypte is een traditionele vriend van de Verenigde Staten, zeker als over vrede in het Midden-Oosten wordt gepraat. Logisch dus dat de regering zijn afschuw uitsprak over de aanslagen. Maar de stemming bij de gewone Egyptenaar die ligt anders. De terreur laat heel veel Egyptenaren gewoon koud. En van medeleven is al helemaal geen sprake.
Ook in Cairo is de Amerikaanse tragedie het gesprek van de dag.
بعد الهجوم إلى نيويورك في أكثر الجرايد تمام؟
من يوم الحادث حضرتك بعد ما نزلت الجرايد بقت تنزل 50 نسخة كانت كل يوم بعد كده نزلت كل يوم الحادث نزلت 100 ويوم تاني يوم الحادث نزلت 100 حضرتك.
Aanval op ons is oorlogsverklaring, zegt Bush. De woede, het verdriet en de hysterie. Amerika brandt af en de wereld wacht af.
Our government, it's a relationship with strategic interests, basically with Egypt as a major player in the Middle East peace process. And the second largest recipient of American aid.
Many dollars.
Yeah, the second largest recipient after Israel.
De Egyptische media berichten genuanceerd over de aanslag. Ze moeten wel, want ze staan onder censuur. Ondanks Hollywoodfilms en fastfoodketens is Amerika niet echt geliefd. Hisham Qassem is hoofdredacteur van het Engelstalige weekblad The Cairo Times.
Eventually, as the years passed by and people did not feel that any improvement happened from American aid directly to their life, there was no trickle-down effect in any way, it began to be something they put on a back burner, or it was no longer something relevant to them. Relationship with America, that's something between the government, the two governments, but on the populist level, that did not exist. However, last year with the Intifada in the beginning and continuous reporting on the fact that American weapons were being used against the Palestinian people, and the constant American political backing of Israel, which ended up with the withdrawal from the Racism Conference, it started creating antagonism against the United States of America.
بتفكر الهجوم على نيويورك؟ لا ليه؟ لا بتفكر شيء الهجوم على أمريكا؟ بس ما بتفكر أمريكا شيطان كبير؟
شيطان؟ ما أعرفش.
لا؟
ما أعرفش.
مش شيطان.
ما أعرفش. مصر وأمريكا 100.
100.
أيوة.
شو أنت بتفكر الهجوم على نيويورك؟
نيويورك. بروجرام واحد.
الهجوم.
I hear reports on between people who, yes, feel some kind of getting their own back, or that the big superpower is not as strong as it always stood to be. Again, the fact that this country has been out of war now for 27 years, and the concept of the carnage done, and you know, all those thousands killed in one blow, can sometimes be far from people's mind.
Uit angst voor aanslagen zijn Amerikaanse instellingen gesloten, zoals de Amerikaanse Universiteit van Cairo, die streng bewaakt wordt en die we niet mogen filmen.
Well, first of all, classes have been cancelled for the next 3 days, and the last day of class, we were shuffled into one of the main buildings on campus, and most of the other students stayed in the hostel, so we're secure.
A lot of people feel that America, you know, thinks that we are a powerhouse, that, you know, we should be taught a lesson that we are not invincible, and, you know, I don't agree at all. I think that this is not the method appropriate to prove such a point. But of course there are going to be people that are pleased to see America knock down a few steps on the pedestal.
The people here are very sympathetic, especially the students that we have gotten to know.
But you're not afraid?
We're not afraid. The administration is trying to take as many precautions as it can. The embassy is very concerned about our safety, but we personally don't feel threatened.